On the first date, he's like, look, if I get an apartment, would you come live with me? And I was like, I don't think my parents would allow that.
You know?
On the third date, he asked me, like, would you consider getting married? Like, would you want to get married? And I was like, yeah, sure. You want to get married now? Because
On that date.
because I knew him.
I had this build-up of resentment and anger over the years
Yeah.
towards him, for completely being condescending and disrespectful.
Hello, family. Welcome to another exciting episode of Love, Marriage, and Family Podcast. It is another week, which means another exciting episode. And we really, really hope you're going to enjoy this episode that we've put together for you. Before we get to it, thank you so much for your love. Thank you for subscriptions. And really, thank you for not skipping those ads. Some of you have been saying that for the first time, you are not skipping the ads. And that really means a lot to us. And continue.
So that we'll maybe able to run this production,
Of course.
Well, today we are visited, of course, by a wonderful couple.
Yeah.
Amanda and Nazir, and they're going to tell us a little bit more about themselves.
Oh, yes.
As we start the show. But we hope that you're going to enjoy this episode, because for us, this couple, when we came across this couple, we're like, oh man, we need to sit down with them. And thank you so much for the suggestions as well. For the couples that you would want for us to sit down with. We really appreciate them, even the comments. And lately, I've gotten around to reading comments.
Yes.
And,
some of you love Mo's laugh.
oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. If you are blessed if you like that laugh.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No.
anyway,
And I think just for the record, I'm going to take your laugh now. I'll find a way of
canning it.
bottling it
Oh,
up.
Lord have mercy.
So that when you are 95 and you are with the Lord, I can actually just take that whatever bottle and I can just listen to your laugh,
Yeah, that'll bring a lot of healing, Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we are visited by a beautiful couple, and Nazir and, of course, his lovely wife, Amanda. Why do we always say, when we have to say the wife, and say his lovely wife, and not just say Amanda?
Why not lovely husband?
I will go.
It's never and his lovely husband.
Yes. There's something about husbands that's not lovely.
Hi, Bo.
You never even say the handsome husband.
No,
It's either the beautiful wife.
You just give it a Nazir, ladies and gentlemen, and his
Nazir.
lovely wife. Amanda, welcome, guys. Welcome to Love, Marriage, and Family
Thanks for having
Podcast.
us. Great to meet you guys. Great to meet your audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you
we are
so
so
much.
excited about today's episode. But before we go anywhere else, please tell us a bit about yourselves. Amanda, Mo was saying off air that Maritzburg, Amanda, is it Amanda or Amanda? you will have to answer that for us. But just give us a bit about yourself, who you are, and what kind of family were you brought up in?
I see Amanda because I am Americanized, Westernized, but my granny would beg to differ. My grandmother, Zulu woman, gave me this name, so it obviously would be Amanda. I am the firstborn of three. I was born in Pietermaritzburg, and when I was 2 months old, I came to Durban. So I feel more like a Durbanite than I do what do we call them? Pietermaritzburg, a Bergian? I don't know.
Yeah. What do you call people from Pietermaritzburg? Pietermaritzburger.
A Maritzburger.
I think it's a Maritzburger.
Maritzburger. But yeah, not a well-to-do family at all. We often struggled, as most families do.
Yeah.
But my parents were very, as I say, nomadic. They moved around quite a lot. But where we stayed for the most part of my childhood and my upbringing was my maternal grandmother's house. And that was based in Durban North, Phoenix. And that's sort of where we grew up in. It's in a little Indian community. My dad being the only Zulu person around at the time. I have a brother and a sister, both younger than me, and that's kind of my upbringing.
Mm.
And then where did you meet this lovely guy?
You had to put the lovely there.
Sorry, I had to do that. Nazir, maybe before she tells us where you met, just a bit about yourself. Did she find you in Phoenix?
No. So I grew up in a completely different area. I first lived in an area called Kinville and then later in Newlands East. Um, I was raised by a single mom who did her best
Yeah.
to afford me a life. Always be grateful for that. Unfortunately, she passed away in my late teenage years. Um, I didn't have any relationship with my father. He sort of walked out on us when I was still a baby. So I was raised by this lovely woman who showed me all the love was my mom and dad for me. Um, uh, Unfortunately, because culturally, my dad was a Muslim, my mom was a Hindu person. So I don't know. It was sort of like kind of felt like I was the black sheep of the family. I didn't really know my dad's side, so I only knew my mom's side. And then unfortunately, when she passed on, sort of had to raise myself, and then I was homeless for some time, living in Durban and around Durban beachfront. I lived on the street for some time, and then
You mean literally?
yeah,
How old
I
were
was,
you, Nazir?
I was like, I think like 18, 19. I was living on the street already. I was so young. And then now that I think about it, I was still a child.
Wow.
And then obviously having at such a young age lost like the only person that was like the only family in my life. I had given up on life already. So there's like, there's nothing for me to work towards, nothing for me to try and do
Yeah.
or accomplish in life. So I just accepted it, and I just lived on the streets and picked up bad habits, and that was my life. And then by the grace of God, I'm here today. I'm married to this beautiful woman. Today's our 11-year wedding anniversary.
Oh wow!
Yes.
So
Congrats,
yeah,
guys.
11 years today, and then we have a very beautiful son. And just to have from having nothing and nobody and being
Yeah,
homeless to
man.
having so much abundance in
family.
my life. Yeah, having my family. That's
Wow.
most amazing gift God has given me. Yeah.
And how do you transition from that? Because obviously living in the street, I imagine affects you
It
more than
does.
just physically.
It does.
Affects you psychologically,
I
affects you. So how do you transition from that, into being the person that you are today?
It's still I still battle with it. I do, especially nighttime. When I lived on the streets, you always sleep with one eye open. You never fully let your guard down. My wife can tell you, I still suffer with PTSD.
Yeah.
Some days I feel like, I have like an identity crisis. This is my life now, staying in the suburb and having a career and having my own business, and then, having that, lived that life. I was like, sometimes I feel like it was like my mind messing with me or something. It's a complete transition, but it's been hard. We had to seek out. I'm a big advocate for men's mental health
Yeah.
awareness. Having undergone, that myself, I would say it's put a strain on our family a number of times, but I'm just so thankful I've had this woman go through it with me, and she's sort of the only comfort in my life to help me cope sometimes. So it's not something you really get over. But I do attend counseling and therapy, because it's surprisingly, when you get off the street, and you work towards. So I became a firefighter.
After that.
Yeah, I managed to become a firefighter. and-
How did that? I mean, who picked you up at beachfront to say, you would be a
Yeah.
firefighter?
It's a crazy story. I don't think people will even believe it. But
Yeah.
so I had a friend from high school. He and I were sort of taking care of each other. It's they say safety in numbers.
Yeah.
And someone from high school, and then we used to go to this. There's an area of Durban called Morningside.
Yeah.
So we would do anything we could to hustle, as we just to make some money or food, we used to sell scrap or clean people's yards or. So this is very kind lady who would actually give us on, like, I think it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon, actually give us the opportunity to clean her yard, and like take out the trash, and she would give us like either food or something to sell, and she never judged us. She could see that we were also on something, and I just appreciated not being judged in that way, because you wouldn't believe how people treat you when you're at the very lowest rock
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
You're not even seen as human. This lady just had compassion, and one day, just out of the blue, I remember raking the yard, and she asked me, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but where are you boys' parents? Where's your family? And I ended up telling her, like, this is my story. This is what happened to me, whatever. Not out of sympathy, it's just like, hey, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
This is the cards that I was dealt.
Yeah.
I had nowhere to go. We went to my own biological father. He told me he can't do anything, so I was left with no one. I did have some family, but they were struggling themselves, and I didn't want to be a burden on them.
Yeah.
It was a small group of people that are very close to me, but they were barely making it, and I said, I'm not going to be a burden to someone else. So I chose to, disappear. I just wanted to disappear. I actually I didn't want to exist anymore. So I thought this is the way to do it, and like, I was young at the time, so all I battled with addiction, and I didn't want to feel alive. I just, if I could put it that way. So, coming back to the story. So, once I had told this lady, about my story, she's like, I need my husband to hear this, And I was like, why? He's like, no, please don't run away. I need him to hear this. It's very important. And so she goes in the house, and I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, did you do anything? Did you steal anything?
Yes.
It's like, no, I didn't. So it's like, no, let's get out of here. I was like, no, listen, if you didn't do anything, I
Then
didn't do
let's
anything.
wait.
Yeah. And then she comes out, you're a huge dude as you,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
bald head, and then like I'm intimidated, and I'm holding this rake very tightly to defend myself.
Defend yourself
Yeah,
if you
like,
have
what,
to.
I don't know, what did I do? But I'm not gonna let him sing first.
Yeah.
She ends up bringing him closer, and then like explain to him
What happened?
what
to you?
happened and what's your name and what was your father's name, what was your mother's name, and she just gave me this look of shock, and she just puts her hand on my shoulder and said, my boy, you're not gonna believe this, but I'm actually your auntie, and this is your father's eldest brother.
What?
And I was like, what?
Whoa.
It's like, yeah. And I was like completely taken back, and I couldn't believe it. It just randomly, this woman ended up being my auntie and uncle, and I remember her just giving me this hug and say, "You're not alone anymore." And I just let it, whatever I had in me, it just came out,
Oh, wow. And how old were you, Nazir?
I was still, man, I think I was like 18, because my mom died, like, I think it was like 2 weeks before my 18th birthday.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would have probably been 18 at the time, or 19 or something,
Yeah,
somewhere around
somewhere
there.
there, yeah.
Yeah. So, just people don't realize just how much love, when you have motherly love,
Yeah.
or love from your partner,
Yeah.
how much effect it can have on you as a person, and the way it can inspire you. And from there onwards, I had hope again, and helped. They helped to clean me up and introduce me to other family members, and sort of put me back on the right path, and rehabilitate. And then I joined the fire department from there, and I'll always be grateful to them, because it's semi-military training. So when I went there, I was still like an addict, but I went there with this attitude, like I'm the thing, but they took it out of me, in your basic training, and I will always be grateful for them to instill
Yeah.
for the first time in my life, some level of self-discipline
Yeah.
and mental toughness, because I was so weak and broken that I was almost kicked out once, but the fire chief of that training facility actually called me one day and said, I can see there's something wrong with you. I'll never forget him, Mr. Herman Binneman. I don't know if he's alive, but he said, just trust the process, because I was on the verge of being kicked out because I was fighting with my senior officers, and I'm like, I came from the street. Nobody's gonna tell me what to do.
Yes, I've survived on my
Yeah,
own.
I've survived. I'm a survivor, so it's like just trust the process, and I guarantee you'll thank me. And I went through that, and that's how I started my journey. And I changed as a person, and around the same time, while being a firefighter,
Just come this side.
I was I used to get like stand downs, which is
Yeah.
like days off. And I was quite naughty that time, especially with the women, I
Yeah.
used to jump over the gates at night while, on the shift or whatever.
Yeah.
They used to lock the gate because of me.
Yeah.
I don't, so
You'll still jump over.
yeah, I still jump over, go to like in uniform in local draw, like having a good time. But I didn't have like my own laptop or anything, so like Facebook was still a big thing that time. And I was going on, I think it was like a Sunday, and I saw this. I was like, this girl is beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
she had this, she had beautiful eyes, and I was like, yeah, I need to know.
She
her.
is beautiful.
I
I
need to know.
understand what happened.
Yeah, I was like, I need to know who she is. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, click, and then we started chatting. We were chatting for a while. Yeah, I obviously tried my moves.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, so we remained friends for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean.
So was it one of those DMs, or is it an inbox on Facebook?
Yeah, and it was very late at night, and I just remember, like, I was, for some reason, a night owl then, and he sent me a friend request, and I received so many friend requests, I just accepted it. But then I think with him, over the time, we became more and more of like online Facebook friends, and then he asked for my BBM pin at the time, back
Okay,
when
it was
BlackBerry
that time. Yeah.
it was BlackBerry's, heydays, and we started chatting, and we became such good friends. Because there was, at the time, for me, I felt like there was nothing. He wasn't the type that I would go for. I wasn't even allowed to date, even though I was over 18. Like, my dad was super strict with me. And yeah, we became friends. He used to talk about all random things. He used to tell me
Yeah.
about his girlfriends, who he's dating, what he's doing. And like, we used to talk, and like, I know the worst of you now, like, we're friends.
Yeah.
We're platonic. And nothing really happened until, later on, he has a whole story about that. But until
What happened later?
It's
on?
usually different to yours.
What did he do?
You can tell me. You can tell me.
we went to, I think he went to Zimbabwe, like.
Yeah.
So
I got offered opportunity to
To
train.
work outside.
Yeah, to train some firefighters. At that time, I was already involved with training firefighters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was offered an opportunity to go to Zimbabwe for a short period of time to train some people in Cheredzi fire department. And at that point, I started having feelings for her, and I said,
Yeah.
I'd like to, I really love your personality. It's so unique. It was like the first time I met someone that thinks so differently,
Oh wow.
that intrigues me, that I think most of all stimulated my mind.
Wow.
That was very attractive for me.
Yeah.
Most men will go for looks, but like I got the whole. I thought
You had the whole package.
the whole package, and
Yes.
and we just like would have conversations for hours about, like, we were so good friends, and I said, I could see myself.
I actually
being
like
with
this
Yeah.
feeling. So, what does this mean, Amanda, for you? Because then you kind of gotten to know that he's got a girlfriend and everything. So at this point now, you're not thinking the girlfriend.
No, I immediately.
No, that
said-
time at that point I was single.
You were available.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
available,
Okay.
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 No, but I immediately said no. Before he went to Zimbabwe, he asked me, and I said no. And then he basically said, like, I won't go if you want to date. Like, I'll stay here and I'll still work, whatever. I said, no, I think you should go. I don't think it's not the right time. I think also what played into that was I knew his personality. I thought we weren't going to be compatible because I was very reserved, introverted, quiet. I was studying law at the time, paying for my old studies. I had my track laid
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
My father had my track laid out, and that's how it was. And I'm not going to get derailed or anything
this guy.
by this guy with some shady intentions. But yeah, and then he went to Zimbabwe, and when he came back, I think, how long was it? A couple months later,
Yeah.
maybe it felt longer. And when he came back, he sent me a friend request, and we started talking again. And then I realized, okay, cool, I do have feelings. And I think it was also his, persistence. And
It's all part of my tactic.
Part of the plan. Part of the plan.
throughout our entire friendship, he's like on and off, in and out. I felt like I knew him, and I felt like I had feelings. And then, we decided to do something about it. He asked me where I was working and stuff like that. And the thing that sort of set it all in motion was he sent me flowers to my workplace. And
Flowers to the...
And man with a plan.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's so
he
cool.
drove there, he bought flowers, and he sent flowers to my workplace, but he didn't come and leave it himself. He sent it with someone who was there, and then he sent me a text, say, did you get it? And everyone in the office looked at me, and I hate attention, so I was like, ugh. And then the biggest thing for me was taking it home and then telling my parents. Although I was 18, 19, I don't know the age, I was still like, oh, am I going to tell you where this is coming from?
Yeah.
I've never had a boyfriend at school. I was never that type of person. So I said, I don't know where this flowers came from. And I went on about it. But I sort of soft launched it to my parents, like little seeds. Oh, I don't know where this flower came from, but someone finds me attractive.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, yeah. And then eventually we decided to meet. We met up at...
Wimpy.
Wimpy at Musgrave, and to me, it was a great time. But he has lots of interesting stories that he likes to tell people.
No, so the first time that we decided to actually meet each other, I was also quite nervous. I've never done or met someone from social media before. At that time, it's not as common as it is now. People. So I don't know, this is really a real person. I'm gonna
Catfish.
get catfished or whatever, But I got there. I'm on the agree time. I'm very punctual because of coming from that type of environment where you have punctuality is everything. And I sat there for like half an hour, and I'm thinking, she's still on the way. And I'm like, eventually I phone her. It's like, I'm here. I've been waiting for like 30 minutes. Like, no, I'm just shopping. And I was like, what?
Oh?
Shopping where?
Inside
Inside the mall.
I'm like,
Just had a
lady.
sale, guys.
I was like, woman, I'm sitting here for 30 minutes and I'm thinking you're traveling, but you're busy shopping. And it's like, I was like, look at the nerve of this woman. So I was like, okay, I can see this is not going to work out. So I was about to leave. So she cut the call, then she phones me back and says, do you want to do this or not? I was like, okay, I'll meet you there at the certain place. And I'm standing and waiting, and I'm like, and waiting like 10 minutes, and I'm like, this woman is messing with me. And then I see her like come down the hall. No, doesn't come up to me. Hello, how are you? It's like, and I was like, wow.
You got yourself a different one.
I was like, wow. Am I a dog? She's like, and she just stands there waiting. It's like, hi Nazir, how are you? I was like, can we at least shake hands or whatever? She's like, and then we go up the escalator, and I think she also felt awkward.
Musgrave is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'm a
I think she
very
also
awkward
felt
person.
awkward. Yeah. And she just stands next to me and she looks straight, and then she's like, how are you? It's good to meet you. And I could see she was uncomfortable there as well. So I also held back a bit. And then we went to Wimpy. We were sitting there. I was trying my moves, and I was trying to I remember I was trying to hold your hand. So I made up. She had like rings on. So I was like, "Oh, you have lovely rings. Can I see? Can I see your rings?" And
Kinda
she
sneaky.
just took them all off, put them on the table, and it's like, "Yeah, there you can have a look at them." I was like, okay.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was like, okay, this girl's gonna be hard to get. But eventually we started chatting, and she got to see I think the person that she's been chatting to all along.
Yes.
And she finally settled. And I tried to like take it a step further. So I just joking with her, I tried to touch her knees, and she like jumped And like, I think like everybody
I
started
wasn't that
looking
type
at
of girl. I was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean, on the first date, I mean,
No, I was just playing like
she
playful.
was like, "You're touching my knee."
you're
Yeah.
trying to touch my hands, you're trying to touch my knee. I barely hug anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the end of that conversation, I think we finally realized, like, okay, it was an awkward introduction, but I do see us meeting again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm finally meeting someone that finally understands, because I felt very misunderstood, and that was such an important thing for me. The scary part is, and even though we married 11 years later, and she still maintains that I might be lying about this, but that moment when I met her for the first time, I knew I was gonna marry her. And it was scary for me. I wouldn't say I was a womanizer, but I mean, I just never ever thought about being in a long term relationship with someone, and then I meet this girl and made me feel uncomfortable. Like, why am I thinking I'm gonna marry this woman? But I knew that we were gonna get married, and it's like it scared me actually.
Wow.
And I remember telling her about it and so, and that probably freaked her out even
Yeah,
more.
no.
Yeah.
You
Did he
didn't
tell
tell
you
me
that
about
on
the
your first
marriage.
date?
He said on the first date, he's like, "Look, if I get an apartment, would you come live with me?" And I was like, "I don't think my parents would allow that." But also, I'm not processing in my head like this is not normal. People don't usually say this. It felt very normal for us.
Yeah.
So as we were dating, when he on like the third date, he asked me like, would you consider getting married? Like, would you want to get married? And I was like, yeah, sure. You want to get married now?
On
Because
the third date.
because I knew him. I knew everything
We knew
about
each other.
him.
We knew
like,
each other
we
for a
were
while.
fine. And now the love element came into it and feelings and all of that stuff. So it didn't feel weird to me when I said, you want to get married right now? And looking back, I'm like, would I want my daughter to do that? Probably not. But it was really like, it felt right in that moment.
Yeah, I would
So-
agree. It felt right. It's like I'm not a person that goes about wasting. I've from having all those type of
Yeah.
relationships, and finally meeting someone like this, I knew what I was looking for and the qualities that I was looking for. So I said, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my
Yeah.
time. I know I want you. I know I want to
that
be
that's
with
how
you.
he lives his life, like,
Yeah.
and it's transferred to me with like a sense of urgency. I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow, because losing his mom at a young age, my thinking is he probably lives like, I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow. I might as well just live and I've also started to live that way, and I think that's it's an interesting way.
So he's
It's a
really
beautiful way.
changed you in a
Yeah.
positive way.
I'm very slow, very like
Yeah.
planning 5-year plan, 10-year
Yeah,
plan. He's like,
yeah.
now plan. Like,
Let's do it for a
Yeah,
moment.
let's do this. Yeah.
What was it for you, Amanda? Because when someone had a difficult past, usually there will be all sorts of things that come to your head. Do I want to be in a relationship with this person? Do I want to pursue this further? And what really made you stick around?
I think there was a sense of familiarity with him.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say this, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's nonsense. But when it happened to me, you could, like, there was a sense of familiarity. And obviously going through therapy and stuff, you sort of realize that your parents' traits, the things that you grow up around, sometimes the familiarity, when you see that in your partner, that's the sort of things that you kind of gravitate towards. And I think I see a lot of my dad's good traits in him. Like, I see a lot, I saw a lot of potential in him as a person. I knew who he was to the core. I think throughout the marriage, people will change. Throughout life, people are going to change. Our likes, our personality. Like, I always tell him I'm a different person every single day. You're getting so many different versions of me. But the thing that I fell in love with is probably not going to change. So his character, his the fundamental traits that he was kind, that he was a
So
generous
good.
person, that he was family orientated, that he may not have had a family, but he wanted a family one day.
wanted, yeah.
He was loyal. All those things fundamentally may not change about a person throughout their life, but their personality, their likes, all of that changes. So I think I fell in love with those fundamental things, and because for us it was never a physical thing. It was just mental. So yeah, it just felt right.
I think you
in
got to
that
be
moment.
careful when you say mental. I
Yeah.
think we both were crazy.
I know.
Nazir, you can relax.
No, this
It's
one.
got nothing to do with your mental health.
And I think also I knew my family and us, like we weren't perfect. We had so much of issues as well. We had so much of trauma, etc., etc. So I was in no place to judge anybody, and
Yeah.
so for me it just felt like, yeah, this is, you've got issues, so what? We all got issues.
We all-
Yeah,
deal
we can
with
work
it.
things
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And that's so important because, often we would look into our partner's pasts.
Yeah.
Even when we consider marriage, you begin to imagine things. I always wanted a father-in-law. I always wanted a mother-in-law. I
Yeah.
always want, but you get,
Expectations.
you get
the
get on with
opposite.
somebody. They don't have no mother. They don't have no father, and so on and so on.
No siblings for that matter.
I have no expectations because again, I I never thought of my marriage. Like whenever I thought of my future, I always thought, oh, studying, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to do this. Like again, my dad and I would sit and we would talk about what we need and the expectations, whatever. I never dreamed of like being married, having children. Girls always say, I dreamt of my wedding day.
When I
No.
was 8,
I
girl.
never dreamt about things like that.
weren't you playing at
You were
8?
just living your life at that
Exactly. I
time,
never
in
dreamt
the
about
moment.
things like that. So when this happened, I was like, okay, sure. Like it's the next step. And I think for me, I took a while to adjust to the idea of I don't have my life is not perfect, but I still want to be married.
Yes.
So yeah.
Tell me, you mentioned a lot about your family, and obviously the dynamics within your family. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? What kind of dynamics are you referring to?
So I obviously have a very diverse family. My mom is mixed race, so she is half colored and half Indian. So when I say we stayed with our maternal grandmother, it was in Phoenix, and she was Indian. My dad is black, so you can when Nazir says, always tells people oh, this is so weird. We always get stares because we're interracial. I have been a product of that my entire life because my parents always looked different and we always got stares and stuff. And I think when my father met my mother, my grandmother was extremely unhappy about the whole entire situation. She didn't like the fact that my father was black and she didn't want him to marry my mother at all. And when we grew up with my grandmother, I loved my grandmother with all my heart. She was a God-fearing woman, lovely woman. But, when it comes to race, even God-fearing people,
Tradition,
they falter.
Yeah.
But yeah, to the point where my grandmother didn't want to raise us up speaking isiZulu. So she told my father, stop speaking that language.
But your father was Zulu.
So unfortunately, my siblings and I grew up not speaking Zulu. And it comes to the point where my son and I are learning Zulu now together because that's just our thing. But again, it's just it's a dynamics. It was a different time back then. Obviously, it was still in apartheid and all of that stuff. So yeah, that was the family dynamics. It was also culture. It was also religiously dynamic. So my grandmother grew up Tamil. And then she converted to Christianity. My father converted to Islam. So he grew us up in Islam. And I went to madrasa from Monday to Friday.
Imagine.
And Saturday and Sunday, I went Sunday school and youth. So I was busy.
Like you were everything.
I was doing everything all the time. So that's sort of the dynamic we grew up in a very diverse environment.
Yeah.
Sounds tough.
And boom.
No, I loved it. I love school. I like everything religious wise.
Yeah.
So for me, it helped for me to connect the dots between the Abrahamic religions for me. So
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if we talk about religion, but
Yes.
yeah, it helped connect the dots for me. Like I saw what was good from each thing, not the
Yeah.
I get you. And then
Wow.
boom, an Indian husband. So it wasn't enough that you had a black dad married to a colored woman, and you needed to take this a step.
a step further.
A step further.
Try something spicy.
To a strict, spicy.
And some spice.
And then obviously you said your father was very strict.
Yes.
Strict as he was.
Strict Zulu man.
A strict Zulu man. And then you bring in this guy Nazir, and of course he hugs him and he welcomes him, and it becomes
How was that,
it
Nazir?
becomes
I wish it was the case.
yeah. Tell us
Wasn't it
about
the
that.
case?
No, it wasn't.
And you would think because my father had
Yeah,
mixed
converted, yeah.
No. I think the dynamics is that you can still have you can still be married to a mixed person and still have your own biases.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Nazir.
Oh wow, Nazir.
I think it was because of what he went through as well as a black man, especially in KZN. There's history between Indian
Correct.
community and the black people. Black community. So when he first met me, I don't know, he thought I was like a visiting friend or something. And because he eventually found out her mother. First, I was introduced to her mother, and her mother was like, if you want to be with her, if you're man enough, you come and see your father. And I was like, okay, I was cocky, I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna come.
yeah. I've faced everything in life.
Yeah,
eh?
I said, okay, arrange it for next week and I'll come through. And then during the week, while at work, I don't know how he got my number, but he managed to find me and phone me. And I don't think anybody told him that I was Indian, At that time, I think I sounded more colored than anything, because I grew up in that environment. And he's like, no, I heard you intend to have a relationship with my daughter. I would like for you to come and meet me in person. So I said, okay, no, I would love
That's
that.
nice,
Obviously not in the calming tone that I'm saying right
Yeah.
now. So I was like stuttering a bit. I was like, no. I was like, this guy is serious. So I immediately phoned her and I said, listen, you wouldn't believe it. Your dad, I don't know how, did you give him my number? She's like, no. I said, he just phoned me now and he's arranged for this weekend. And then she completely flipped out and she broke up with me.
Because she knows.
I was like, what the hell did I do? Like,
Yeah.
she broke up with me, and I was so confused. And like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to phone her. She blocked my number, and it's like, what are you hiding? Like, are you
Yeah.
part of the government or something? Like,
Yeah. Secret Service.
yeah. So,
Secret
but
agent.
I still had her mom's number, and I said, I don't know what happened. Your daughter just broke up with me because I told her, your husband phoned me. It's like, no, don't worry, I'll sort it out.
Yeah.
And then I've been that weekend. I hadn't seen her, but we met. She didn't meet me at her house. She met me like near her house. I just wanted to speak to you before we go. And I was like, what? And it's like, this is the story, whatever. And I said, I don't care about all of that. I just want to be with you.
Yeah.
I'm not a friend.
What was the story?
For context, my father and my grandmother, they had some disagreement, and my father moved out, and he took us with. And the sort of only place that he could find close to his work was within the township. That
Gotcha.
was in Isipingo, next to Lotus Park.
Okay.
So that's sort of where we lived.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Ish maybe felt I was going to judge her or something, and I said no. I was homeless. I mean,
Yeah.
why would I ever judge you on that? It's like, okay, let's go. And then we went in, and we arrived there at the house inside the township. It's probably like the only Indian guy there or something.
Yeah.
So we get there, and it's like this embankment, and they have this humble tin house that's there. And this woman doesn't even wait to bring me to introduce me. Just runs up the embankment, leaves me to face her father alone.
Oh, we're here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
then
survived.
she runs inside the house and stands and waits there. And I
Shame.
see this man sitting there on the porch, and then I don't know if it was like he knew or he didn't knew, it was messing or intimidating me, but I come there and like, hi, how are you? And then he was like, yes, may I help you? And then I was like, no, my name is Nazir. It's like, what are you a friend? Or you came to see my son? I was like, no, I'm the guy we spoke
That
over
you
the
spoke
phone.
with on the
Ooh.
phone.
Are you the one dating my daughter? I was like, yes. And then his first reaction, but you're Indian. And I was like, oh.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. And I think it was a shock to him, because I remember him saying, Okay, can you give me like 5 minutes? I just need to have a cigarette, but you can go in, just let me process this.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. So I went in and I looked in and I grabbed her hand. I was like, what did you bring me into?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't tell him that I was Indian, Um, but the rest of the family was so welcoming.
Yeah.
Her siblings, they and I are very close. Her mom and I are very close till this day. Um, but throughout the start, from our engagement to the early years of our marriage, it was very difficult. We had a very, very difficult relationship.
With the
And
father
yeah, with the
specifically.
father specifically, to a point where even our families didn't have keeping contact for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, eh, he unfortunately he passed away. Um, but
Who your father-in-law?
Father-in-law.
my
Okay.
father-in-law, her dad. But I would say, to the point where he was like, he wouldn't even accept if we had children. Um, but from the man saying that too, when our son was born, he just changed as a person, completely changed, and it still was rocky after. But he accepted that we have a child together, and we eventually, w- got close, and we could understand that we actually have a similar background.
Yeah.
And we actually
What-
relate because he also went through similar thing.
Yeah.
He was also homeless at one point, and I think we're too similar that we used to butt heads a lot.
Yeah.
And after he passed on, I finally realized how much of trauma he was carrying with him, especially as a man. And you know, obviously he didn't have the resources to address it. And I also wish sometimes I would have been more patient with him and been more understanding, because I had this buildup of resentment and anger over the years
Yeah.
towards him, for completely being condescending and disrespectful, and
So this was not an event. The treatment that you got
no,
from
it
him
was
Continued.
ongoing
was
for
not
years.
just for when he met you. It
No, it
went
went on
on.
for years. It
Oh,
went on
wow.
for years, and it, as I said, it even separated the family to the point because he also, when he would drink alcohol, that was like his medicine, and it would come out in a very ugly way. And I think I used to stand up to him, and he didn't like to be challenged, especially I'm the type of person, like somebody's being violent or wants to threaten people. I hate bullies. I was bullied as a kid because of having a Muslim name and a Hindu surname. So I also went to madrasa. I was raised to be a Muslim boy,
Yes.
but I used to get picked on a lot. And I said, when I became a man, or when I grew up,
Yeah.
I would never allow anybody to bully me, nor would
Yeah.
I allow people to be bullied in front of me. So, when we eventually had the relationship that we had, I tried my best to heal him by giving them experiences, because I
Yeah.
didn't have my parents. So there were so many things that I introduced, her mom and dad to, and experiences and vacations and taking it to try and heal that, to see, show him that there's more to life
Then
than
just yeah.
holding on to anger in the past. Because he also went through it rough,
Yeah.
and like I remember having this conversation like 1 year before he died, when we like finally became like, you know, so the relationship that I always wanted with him was just to be accepted as a son,
Yeah.
because I didn't have a father. So,
I'm sure
yeah,
it was important
it was very
to meet
important to
him,
me.
Yeah.
It was, and I wanted to have a good relationship, and
Yeah.
like, her family is very close to me. They phone me. They don't phone her.
Oh,
Her mom,
wow. I
if
love
there's
that
if there's a
transition.
problem, her mom will phone me first before anything.
Yeah.
A brother, sister, they phone me first.
And I don't
That's
think
so sweet.
he.
Why do you think your dad, Amanda, because obviously you were much closer to him, in your view, why do you think he never accepted? Well, in the beginning, he didn't want to accept Nazir.
There's a couple of things that I can obviously, when we look at it, and Nazir is reflecting like post his death, we all have compassion for people that have passed away, and we look at it. Doesn't like I want to make mention that we're not condoning what he did. Like it's just when you look at someone's life after they die, you sort of see
Yeah.
the motives and the dots all start to
Yes.
connect. But when they're there in their person, you only see them for this moment.
Yeah,
So
true.
my dad, I think, was treated very badly by Indian people when he was younger. And he grew up with Indian people because he came down to Durban as a teenager and he grew up around a lot of Indian people. He converted to Islam as a result of that. So he was treated badly. He was treated badly by my grandmother and a lot of other people, always, and add to that poverty, being seen as less than and as a black person in an Indian community. So I think he had a lot of resentment towards Indian people. And then seeing that my husband is Indian, and I am the firstborn in the family, so all of those dynamics sort of come into play. But I think taking accountability from my side as well. I was very immature at the time, and I didn't protect my husband. It is what it is. I didn't put my foot down and say, you can't talk to him like that. You can't treat him like that. You cannot behave like this on our wedding day. You cannot ask me if I am happy to marry someone, or am I sure that I want to marry this person on my wedding day. You cannot show up to my wedding drunk. You cannot, like shout and fight and want to take up a weapon to attack my husband. You can't do all of these things. And for us growing up, we were taught not to question. Like, we were taught like respect your elders, like all of
Don't
these
talk back.
Can't talk back. Like your parents sort of have your life planned out for you. Like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and we're gonna help you get there. And when I deviated even so slightly from what my father had in store for me, it was a big thing for him, and he started acting out. And instead of me putting my foot down and being firm, I was always like the person trying to avoid conflict. And I didn't protect him enough in that moment, and I felt like I was a bit immature, and a person who was getting married should have done that. So to that, we've dealt with that a lot in therapy and stuff, and we've gotten through that. But yeah, it was a very tough period with my dad and Nazir.
Yeah,
He went through a lot
it played a-
psychologically and like physically, and it gotten to the point where even after my son was born, like he loved my son, we had a good relationship, but it came to this point where there was so much of like discrimination and backhanded comments and internal gossiping in the family, where I had to separate from my family for 3 years
Until he
because
quit
of
drinking.
After the birth of your son.
after,
Yeah, this
after
was
the birth of
after,
my
yeah.
son, for around 3 years, I separated from them, and I didn't want to talk to them until my father stopped drinking. And when he stopped drinking and he became like a little bit more religious and started calming down a bit and coming to his senses, he came in. Nazir reached out. Nazir was the first person to reach out
reach
and say,
out,
talk to your father, talk to your family. And he brought the family close together. And I always say I'm so grateful for him, because if he didn't bring my father like to come and stay with me a little bit and like get to know him, a year later after he brought him to see me, my father passed away. So I'm so grateful that he did that and he reached out and they reconciled and the family was brought together. And now I think Nazir doesn't know it, but he sort of is also like the de facto, leader of the family in certain way. That's why my mom always calls him and stuff. So, we're now a solid family unit, but it took us a very long time to get there. And, he went through a lot in that
Yeah,
space.
Isn't that amazing, Nazir? I'm thinking, I mean, you came from a very broken, non-existent family.
Yeah, yeah.
But you become this person who is really, for lack of a better word, the glue of putting this other family together.
Yeah, look, it's with life experiences, it can either teach you a lesson, or you can be part of the problem. Like when I found out I was gonna be a dad, it was like something I felt like I was waiting for my whole life.
Yeah.
Because I finally got to be what I didn't have, as well as being a husband. Having that tense relationship with my father-in-law always also had a negative impact on our marriage. The first year went fine, but then afterwards, a lot of resentment came out because I felt you didn't protect me. and I would protect you through anything. It got to a point where we also almost separated. It became bad. Our relationship became bad. But I remember like we were almost ready to separate because we felt like it came to a point where we were so hostile between each other that there was no feelings between the both of us. And we were
This
like,
is after how long you've been married?
what would you say,
Maybe
three,
about
three,
3
4
or 4
years,
4 years,
3 or
okay.
4 years.
Yeah.
It's like we said, okay, yeah, we admitted to each other we're just sticking around for our child, but we both were miserable, and it was on that point, like on the, like on the point of divorce, and I just asked myself honestly one day, can you live without this woman? I was driving to work. We just had an argument. It was like a daily occurrence, and we realized it was better to separate than let our son grow up in this type of
Hostile
toxic
home.
environment. It was affecting him. He was a baby, and then I made a choice that day. I said, you know what? I love this woman. I remember why. I remembered why I wanted to be. We fought so hard to be together. We fought everybody, her family. Like there's just so many factors that we fought. Was it all for nothing? And we have this beautiful child. Am I going to condemn my child to that? Am I going to be, that type of person? And am I going to just, bring this girl to Gauteng and, fight a family and then just leave? And then I said to myself, you've got to be a man here. And a man would make a decisive and important decision on something like this. And I gave her a call and I said, listen, deep down, I know I love you, but we've got problems. And I don't care if it makes me miserable admitting that you're right all the time, or whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. Just so, we can start over again. And instead of taking advantage of that situation, that's when I saw how she had become and grown to a mature woman. She says, it's not that. I think where we should start again, the first thing to build our relationship again is to have respect for each other. And I knew marriage, there's more to marriage and a relationship than just love and romance. But that was when we learned that at the very pillar of a strong, good foundation for a relationship, respect is such a huge, important thing. And from that respect and developing boundaries and stuff, the friendship came back again.
Oh, wow.
And then eventually the love came back again. And I would say it's been amazing ever since. We do have our ups and downs.
Of course, yeah.
Specifically every Friday. I don't know, she comes home and she
Why
takes it.
Friday?
I don't know. I think it's the frustration from the
She's
week.
going to clarify that.
Yeah. But yeah, I wake up every day so in love, so grateful.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, I'm glad we didn't separate. I would have missed out on this beautiful thing that I have right now. And, this person not only has stuck with me, but also built me up as a man, and held me accountable. And there's times where I'm lost as well. I don't have, because everybody looks to me for the answers in our entire family. Because of the experiences that I've been through, many people haven't. But I always tell her, where do you think I get the answers from? I have to, go through the experience. I have to figure it out myself. So there's days where it takes an emotional drain, on me and mentally. And also while trying to deal with the PTSD of what I've been through, that she's actually the rock of this family. And she, I lean on her. And without her, I'm not afraid or ashamed to say it. Without her, I'd be nothing in life. Yeah, that's the honest truth. I'd be nothing.
Imagine, because in my mind now, there's an image of a cycles, and how do we break cycles? You guys walk your separate paths. After 4 years or so of marriage, there's a child who is there. cycle again.
Yeah.
You know, that child grows up
Yeah, without a family
without a
like,
present.
exactly like
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And but it had to take that epiphany. You're driving to work and you're like, no, man, this is not just someone I, just want to be with. This is literally someone I cannot be without.
Yes.
You know, and that's sort of the cycle that comes to my mind. And how important was that for you, especially when he spoke to you, to say, you know what, can we have this foundation? Can we have, this? And how did that work? How did that look like?
It was super important to me because I felt at that moment, I always felt, we didn't have big problems. We didn't
Yeah.
have big issues in our marriage. There wasn't like infidelity or whatever. Like it was just disagreements. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times all those disagreements build up and people leave. But for the first time in our marriage, when he said that, I felt like, oh, I'm not on shaky ground anymore.
Mm.
We're fine. We're okay. We've taken divorce out the table. We know we love each other,
Yeah.
and that's the foundation. And I know you want to work at it. You know I want to work at it. So now it's like we're on the same page, and we can
Yeah.
build together. We can do anything from here. So I felt reassured enough to become a little softer and
Yeah.
become a little like more nurturing and all of those things because. Honestly, for a very long time, I know it's very internet speak, but I was very in my masculine. Like, I was very
Yeah.
like reactionary.
Yeah.
This, that, how can you treat me like this? But right now, I'm coming from a place of being more nurturing, being more kind, and like it took me a long a long time to get to there. But when he put down the foundation and said, you know what, as a man, this is what I want, and this is where I'm coming from, like, and laid the foundation for us, and then I was able to build upon that.
Isn't that
man, that's so cool.
amazing? Because I'm liking how you're articulating that. He needed to take leadership and
Yeah.
ownership
Yeah.
because this is where a lot of men fail. Had he not taken that leadership role to say, listen, this is where I'm at, this is where things are, it wouldn't have allowed you to come to the place that you got into. So sometimes when men are not taking their responsibility and their role in leading the ship,
Absolutely.
it crumbles because
Yeah.
you can't do that on your own. On your own, you could have just, okay, this is where we are, then let it be.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And sorry, love. No.
And I think, look, we all like. I think from a woman's standpoint, I'll tell you from my standpoint. Yes, I'm strong. Yes, I'm capable, independent. All of those things. But at the same time, I think I didn't understand my role in a marriage. Like when you choose marriage, marriage is a specific thing. Like it's not for everybody. But when
Yeah.
you choose it, we do have roles in marriage. And I think I didn't understand where that was. And I thought like, oh no, submission or being nice and kind is.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's gonna take advantage or whatever. But I
Yeah.
didn't understand it, and I think when the roles was switched and reversed, I am now happier. I'm so much happier.
Oh man, this is so important. This is so important. I mean,
I love it.
he grew up in the street, and he learned to survive. He learned to be a tough person.
Yes. Oh,
He got married later in life without knowing you were somehow giving him those vibes, the vibes of toughness, the vibes of, which is what he left in the streets. But when you changed, to be soft and be more feminine and all of that, he was, you know what I mean?
You
More,
articulated it perfectly. Like
Yeah, because I was sort of re-hardened
yeah,
from everything. And, she and my son sort of opened up my heart and made me realize, because, just how much I can love. And I didn't know I was capable of that. I was so hardened by my experiences. But, just to add on to what you said about men in a leadership role, also, to your audience and most men out there, it's also earned and deserved. Don't just demand to be the head and you don't back it up. If you want to be the leader of the family, fine, but you it's not a title.
yeah.
And that's what my wife put on the table. Says, okay, you want to be the man, show me you can do it. And men must understand it. It's not a title. It's
a
a
role.
job. It's a job. It's a role.
Yo, man.
You know, I'm responsible for where she ends up, where my son ends up. You know, the ideology that binds our family
Destiny.
together. You know, the faith, the teachings and everything. So I just want to highlight that because I do see a lot of men out there. They demand that from the woman, but then they can't back it up.
Yeah.
And then it's, oh, you're emasculating, but you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
You're not trying. So people must understand that it's something that you have to earn as well.
Yeah.
It's not just given to you. You know?
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not just given to you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
work at this, you earn.
Yeah. Yeah,
this
man.
title.
This is so powerful. It is such a powerful
Absolutely
conversation.
beautiful.
So powerful conversation about breaking cycles, about learning that this is not just about wearing a ring on your finger. There is a responsibility that comes with it. It's about posture. It's about, attitude, and being secured in who you are. You're secured. If I as a man am secured in my manhood, my woman is secured in her womanhood.
Yeah.
Oh my word, we have a great relationship.
Indeed.
It doesn't mean it's without challenges, but certainly,
You navigate
we
the
have
challenges,
We have
yeah.
guys. You have got such a wonderful relationship.
We worked hard at it.
Yeah, after 11 years.
I can see Nazir
know,
is like,
Yeah, man.
I'm proud of
I
it.
worked for this.
No, I'm very proud of it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, we especially with the youngsters
Younger
nowadays.
generation, yeah.
I see that there's so much expectation
Yeah.
put on each other to make me happy. I need you to do this to
This
make
for
me
me,
happy,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you need to do it. No,
Yeah.
make yourself happy.
Yeah.
Put the expectation on
Yeah.
yourself to be happy, and that person is just a bonus.
Yeah.
Don't put that way. And then, some people, it becomes a heavy burden for them. And that's why we have a lot of divorces and people separating and cheating and so forth. It's a hard time job. If you take
Yeah.
being a husband or wife, it's a real time, full time job. If
Yeah.
you're serious about it, same as what your career, if you're serious about your career or being a parent. So
Same thing for your
no. So
marriage.
I'm very proud of our marriage because of it's 11 years of trauma, hard work, love,
Yeah.
crying, sweat, blood, tears. That it's like like I earned my degree in husband.
Yes.
And your
Everything.
certificate.
We've transcended poverty,
Yeah.
race, like every single
been through every
challenge
phase
has
Yeah.
been put in front of us, and now we're
And look at you. You
Look
are
at you
winning.
guys,
Thank you
so
so
good.
much, guys. Thank
Oh
you.
man. Oh
Thank
man.
you
guys
at
so
home for watching. This has been an amazing.
Oh my goodness.
It's been an amazing learning episode
Masterclass.
for us.
Yeah.
But I'm certain that it has been the same for you guys.
Yeah.
At life, you work.
Yeah.
Nothing comes easy. And I think there's absolutely nothing that is as amazing than enjoying the fruits of the work that you have put in.
Amen.
Thank you so much for watching, and let's do this again next time. And I'm certain that this has been a very empowering episode for you. Certainly has been for us.
And please hit those subscribe buttons and let us reach this 50K. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys for
Thank you for having
joining us as well. You're such an awesome couple.
Yes,
God
incredible.
bless you. God bless you.
God bless you guys and to your audience as well.
Thank you.